Hi Homeworthy, I'm Liz Joy. Welcome to my home in Fairfield, Connecticut. Let's go.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, my name is Liz Joy. I am a content creator and I own the women's lifestyle brand Marea, and we are here in my home in Fairfield, Connecticut. In 2019, my husband had just left his job in New York City to come work full-time with me, and that gave us a little freedom as to where we could live because we weren't tied to New York. So I always wanted to live in Fairfield. This is actually where I went to college, and we found a fixer-upper, and I brought my husband here on a whim. It was a raised ranch, and we put an offer in. It was actually my birthday when the offer was accepted, and then from that point we remodeled it for the entire next year to make it what it is now. So because we live in a beach area, all of the houses have to be raised for flooding. So when we bought the existing house, it was raised, but they had raised what was originally here. So what we did was we kept the original structure, but we remodeled pretty much everything. We added a second floor, we added a finished attic, we put a pool in, and we really made it our own. We are a very close-knit family, so we spent a lot of time together, and when we were designing the house, I really wanted all of the rooms to kind of flow into each other. I wanted this big open space to have the couch so we could watch movies. I wanted it to be really close to the kitchen so that when I'm cooking, I can be a part of the family, or when Brian's cooking. So having that kind of open floor plan with very easy flow from room to room was super important. And then tying in the outside to the inside. Summer is our favorite season, so being able to come in from the pool, come in and make a snack in the kitchen, everything really flows nice for our family. Welcome to my office. So this office was originally pretty much white space, and over time I've added prints and patterns and lots of different textures and seating areas, and now it feels so homey and such a representation of what I love most. So the wallpaper is this gorgeous pink, and I love the vertical print that it has. I was a little nervous to put it all over the room, but Dana insisted that it would look good, and she was so right. I love it even on the ceiling. It balances so beautifully with this really pale blue color and the pops of yellow from the bench. The drapes are really, really special to me because I work very closely with some block printers in Jaipur, India. And this was actually going to be a dress, but it ended up working so pretty as the drapes in this room. We didn't have quite enough, so we intentionally put a band here and then finished the bottom with this beautiful cream color, and I love the way it turned out. One of my employees, Haley, loves to needlepoint, and she needlepointed this Marea sign for me, and I love it so much. So it has a perfect home, and it goes so good with the wallpaper, and it's just one of those things also that makes me smile every time I think of it because I love her and it reminds me of her. So the built-ins here were original. We put these in as soon as we made this room an office, and they're very, very functional because they store so much stuff. And then I get to display my pretty things in the shelf, which I always wanted to be able to do. I'm a huge book reader. I love pulling out a book when I want to get inspired. So all of my favorite books are in here. I've got some great pictures of the family, which just always help me feel grounded, and just little things that I've picked up throughout my life, throughout my travels. Like this is a picture that I actually got when I was studying abroad in college in Florence, Italy. And I love the way it looks here. It just makes me happy every time I see it. I come to this space first thing in the morning. I make my coffee when my kids are still sleeping. I will check my emails, check in with my team, and I love this space because it really just feels like my sanctuary. It's decorated exactly how I want it, and it really functions really well for me to keep me inspired and just having me feel really productive throughout the day. So this is my kind of little pin board that I have at my home office. In my office at the studio, there's tons of these around, but I like to keep this one. I like to keep it with the season that I'm currently working on. So I'll pin up some of the textiles that we're using. I also print out a bunch of inspiration images that I just find very aesthetic and pretty. So I love having a pin board here because I can easily pin up my inspirations. I can easily pin up the textiles that we're currently working with in the season. And I love to print out pictures that are inspiring to me. So it could be someone's outfit, it could be the scenery, it could be the setting. It's like the whole vibe of the collection that we're currently working on. And I kind of pin that up just to keep me reminded of what the theme of the season is. We love bringing Polaroids on vacation. It's kind of nice. It's a nice way to capture the moments without being glued to your phone. So we have tons of Polaroids and I love displaying them in shadow boxes like this with shells that we may have picked up from the trip. So having these things around just makes me so happy. I love this. This is super special to me. My mom actually hand painted every month on this calendar, so I love keeping this at my desk. She's such a talented painter. I wish I got that from her, but yeah, this also just makes me smile every time I see it. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I clearly have a thing for shells. They just have always made me so happy. So I have these little trinkets around with shells that we've found throughout our travels. And sometimes when I'm thinking, I just take them out and look at them and kind of play with them if I'm on a call or something. I don't know. There's something about the shells that makes me just feel like grounded and happy. I am a huge Facebook Marketplace junkie. It's one of the first things I do every morning. And I feel like because I've used it so much, the algorithm just serves me what I want. And I found this beautiful blue and white jar with sailboats on it. And I had to have it. It was from a woman a town over. And I just love the way it looks in the shelf. But I love Facebook Marketplace. It's like my little version of being able to hunt for antiques on a daily basis. And I find so many good things. So when you walk into the home, we have our foyer, which is obviously where we all enter into the house. And then to the right of that is my office. Right behind my office, we have the kids' toy room, which is kind of William's mess room where he plays with all of his Legos, all of his magnet tiles. And then you come into this open living room with the kitchen right behind it. Once you're in the foyer, you can also go upstairs, and that's where we have our 4 bedrooms, our master bedroom, and the 3 children's bedrooms. When people ask me what my style is for the home, I really don't know what to say. I love a collected look, so I love to have items in my home that truly bring me joy. When I first moved in, I had a pretty much whitewashed house, and I wanted to live in that kind of white space for a while so that I could really take my time and put things into the house that made sense, that made all of us happy. And so it's basically just a collection of things that make me happy. I love lots of color. So as you can see when we go through the house, lots of pattern wallpapers. I also have a apparel business, so I'm very influenced and inspired by the prints that we put on our dresses, and I kind of translate that into elements in our home, which you'll see like in the pillows, in the wallpaper, in the decor. So I would say it's a pretty collected, eclectic, coastal style home. So welcome to my dining room. We love to entertain, so this room gets a ton of use. I love how big and long the table is for having multiple guests and children, and I love how bright and happy this room feels. I love all of the details in this room. The ceiling is really special. I love how it has this shiplap frame in the center, and then these basket lights just bring me so much joy. And when you light them at night, the light that it casts in the room is so pretty. And they just add like a very natural beachy vibe to this room that I love so much. And then to take down a little bit of the beach, because obviously the palm fronds on the wallpaper, we've got this beautiful plaid upholstery on our dining chairs, which I love. And then the rug, which is a wool rug that was custom, but it just ties the colors in so, so nice. And then the drapery. This one was a wow factor for me. I wasn't sure about it, but as soon as it went up, I fell so madly deeply in love. I love how it grounds the room. It really has this powerful nod to nature, which I feel like ties in so beautifully with the birds on the wall, which I love so much. They add so much beautiful color. And right in this section, we have this really beautiful vintage buffet, which I love so much. I love the warmth that it adds to the room with the pink lampshades is such a fun nod. And then this really fun wall of eclectic plates and some of my favorite books and some family photos. So I love adding plates to a wall because it's such a nice form of art. It's a little bit different than a painting or something you would find usually, but it adds so much visual interest. These are new, but they kind of all flow in beautifully. And I love the sort of the shape that it adds to the wall as well. So I was actually at a work event in California and I saw this wallpaper installed and I immediately knew I needed it in my home. I thought the color was so pretty. I wasn't sure where, but I knew it had to be in the home and it is so perfect for the dining room. I love this bar pass through from the kitchen to the dining room. I knew when we were building the house, I wanted to have an archway somewhere and I felt like this was the perfect place because you can pass the food and the drinks from the kitchen right through to the dining room. And it's the perfect passageway from the kitchen to the dining room. I was also really fortunate to work with two amazing women. My friend Gail, who's an interior designer, helped me when we were building the house with the layout. I really didn't know much about the sort of structural parts of the home, and she really helped create that flow and that function for our family of 5. And then my really close friend, actually one of my best friends, Ashley, has a very close friend and her name is Dana and she works for Molly Patton Design, and she is so good at kind of mixing those prints and finding those antiques. And I find that when I work with someone else, the chemistry between us really creates the magic. So if I see something, I want to bounce that idea off her. And when we were building the house, I wanted to bounce ideas off Gail. So I feel like having a person who's really focused and talented at home was so crucial for the way the home turned out. So this is our family room. We spend so much time in this space. This is where we all gather at the end of the day. We watch a movie as a family together. Once the kids are asleep, Brian and I will often find ourselves on the couch watching one of our shows. This is really just the most relaxing room for us. The kids love being in here with us. Like I was saying earlier, William makes forts with the chairs and we kind of just let it all happen during the day. And it just feels very warm and cozy. There's nothing I love more than putting the fireplace on in the winter. But yeah, this is really where a lot of our sweet moments as a family happen. A sectional was always really important for me to have just because I feel like it fits our family of 5 so well. And I love that I can take my spot, which is the end here, and lay down and watch a show. But it really fits our family. We all pile onto that and have such fun together. And then I thought these chairs were so, so interesting. And this fabric choice for the upholstery is so fun. And it pulls all of the colors in this whole space together in these cushions. And I love the natural raffia to them. And the ottoman was something that, again, was very intentional with the color. It pulls in the berry from our drapery really, really nicely. And it houses all of our favorite coffee table books, and we put our feet up on here at night. But I love the way all of these colors kind of work together so beautifully. I always loved the way these natural beams looked, and this is actually from a railroad, which is really interesting. There's a place in Connecticut that specializes in these. It's called Board Silly. I went with Gail actually to pick this one out, and I love this little hole it has in here. Everyone always asks me what this is for, but this is actually just how this naturally was found, and I kind of think it's fun. It's a little quirky. And then the frame TV I love because you can change the art on it depending on the season. I love the vintage look of these brass candle holders with the pop of berry in the candle. I think that looks really neat. This I feel like was the find of a century. One of the interior designers in the area was closing down her store. She was moving locations, and I went at the last minute and found this piece and knew that it was perfect for this corner. I love the old aged look of it, and the color is just so stunning. Everybody asks about it when they come into the house, and it's also really fun to style. I love changing out the decor on the inside and on the top. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite pieces in the whole house. Probably my favorite piece, actually. It houses all of my favorite books, and then again, a lot of my vintage treasure finds, like the shell box. My mom actually gave me that painting when she first learned that I was doing textiles in India. One of her friends from India gave that to her, and she passed it down to me. So I feel like that's really special. And all of our tableware is stored in here, and candlesticks. This was a wedding gift, this vase from Tiffany. So all of the things really kind of mean something to me, and I love being able to look at them through this cabinet. My friend Dana and I recently went antiquing, and we found this basket and thought it would be so perfect for the top of this piece, and I love the way it looks. She found this lampshade, which looks really, really pretty, again, tying in the colors, and I just love it so much. These shells are also vintage, a lot of old things. The swan too. This was something that actually Dana couldn't get out of her head, and she showed up here one day with the swan walking up my staircase, and she's like, this has to be here, and I love it so much. So yeah, this whole area, just the colors, it all just makes me so happy. So these shelves are such a nice moment for me to showcase things that I have found and love so much. Originally, they were kind of like perfectly styled, but as time went on, I started to add things that I just truly love, and I wasn't afraid of mixing color. I wasn't afraid of mixing old with new, and I just really love how it all turned out. Again, there's tons of shells in here. I've got 2 cases down here of shells, an old brass piece that is so pretty, a little touch of some modern art, some of my favorite books, baskets. I love the way this mix of color looks, and it just feels very cozy and homey and like a true representation of just life, really. Our previous house was more of a kind of farmhouse design. We were actually like living in the woods at that point, and then when we moved here to the beach, my style kind of completely changed. And then as I mentioned before, starting the fashion brand really injected tons of color to what I wanted my home to look like. I think my favorite room in the house is this area because we spend so many good times as a family here. We all pile on this couch almost every single night. We all share our meals on the counter in there. My husband and I love to cook together, so I feel like this area is really where the heart of the home is. So in the summer, we are outside as much as possible. So if the weather is nice, I have to be outside from the time I sip my coffee until I am about to fall asleep. I love to be outside. I love to be at that pool. I love when the neighborhood kids come over. We walk to the beach sometimes for happy hour, so we're outside a ton. So right now in Connecticut, this is when we shine, the summer. So I'm gonna take you guys outside to our backyard oasis. I love coming out here. It's my favorite place. We actually recently put this table out on the deck. I found it on Facebook Marketplace, shocker. And I love having dinner out here with the kids as well. The sun sets on this side, so it's so nice to just sit here and enjoy a nice meal with the family. And it's really convenient off the kitchen. So I love that. So here is our little backyard kitchen. Brian does all of his famous grilling on this grill. I love when he grills because it means I don't have a mess to clean up in the kitchen. But when we have big groups here in the summer, this is where we eat. We entertain at this table, and we've got a little fridge and garbage out here. So we've got it kind of all figured out in the backyard. And then obviously, when you're finished with your meal, you can go and take a dip in the pool. It's a saltwater pool that we put in when we moved into the house, and I love this pool. It brings me so much joy to sit at this pool with my family and just relax. I get out of the house where I could be doing a million things, and I just grab a book or grab a friend, have a glass of wine, and we hang out, and it's just the best. The kids also love, obviously, having a pool. Something I always wanted growing up. So when we moved into this house, this was my must. Hydrangeas are my favorite flower. So again, when we moved in, we really wanted to create some sort of privacy because we live in this beach area and there's a lot of houses that are close together. So we planted these pear trees, which give us a really nice hedge here. And then in between, we planted hydrangeas, which I just love. They look so pretty and I enjoy them all summer long. And a newer hobby for me is gardening. My husband and I built this garden and I do tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers. We didn't do cucumbers this year, but the tomatoes that we get and the peppers that we get are so delicious. And honestly, going into that garden for me is like my form of meditation. I go in there, I forget about everything. I do all of my weeding, my trimming, I take the fruit off the branches, and I love taking care of those plants. It brings me so much joy. I get a lot of questions about the pool. It's actually a fiberglass pool. So they cut the hole and they drop the pool in. And it's such a great pool. It's very little maintenance. And we did a saltwater pool, which I really like. I also get a lot of questions about the size of the pool. It's a 35 long by 15 wide pool with a hot tub. There are kids in here all summer long, and just honestly, nothing makes me happier. It's such a great addition to the house. And then along this side of the yard, we planted privet, which hedges so nice. It grows so fast. So if you're looking for any sort of privacy hedge, I highly recommend the privet. So because we live in the beach area, all of the houses are raised. So when we found the house, it was raised on just these cement pillars and it really wasn't nice looking. So we kind of finished the bottom of the house to make it look more like it was part of the house, even though it's really just kind of a garage. But I really love all of the different elements and the different dimensions that we added to the house. I love that we have the cedar shingles paired with the board and batten, and then all of the different railings. I have 3 kids. So one is 5 and the other 2 are 10 and 12. And so I really want this home to be something that they feel like they can live in and they don't have to be too nervous about messing things up. My son will take apart our living room on a daily basis and make tents and forts in here. And I kind of just have to let it go because I love that he's using his imagination like that. So I'm not too much of a stickler about having the house clean, but at the end of the night, I put it all back together and then the next day it all happens again. We also live in a really kid bustling neighborhood. So there's constantly neighborhood kids in and out of here and they all go into my pantry, they swim in my pool. So it's kind of just a very free, open home, which I love. That's what I always wanted. So that's kind of how we live in the house. So I had been working as a content creator from the time I was 28, and I really focused in on style and fashion. And after about 10 years of doing that sort of content, I decided that it would be really smart and fun for me to create my own line of clothing. So I started doing that in 2022, and it's slowly grown over the years. And we have now 10 full-time female employees. We produce everything from dresses, sweaters, outerwear. We're just getting into denim, which is super exciting. And our office is here in Fairfield, just a mile away from the home. And it feels just like an extension of my life. The people I work with have become great friends, and it just feels like the full picture. Welcome to the kitchen. This is the heart of the home where we cook all of our meals together and spend so much time. I love the layout of this kitchen. One of my favorite parts about this kitchen is the backsplash tile, which was when we built the house, this is what we picked out. And because I'm on Instagram and things, I probably get asked about this tile once or twice a day. I just think it's really unique and pretty. I love the color so much, and I love the handmade nature of it in the room. I also really love the look of an unlacquered brass faucet. This was something that I really wanted for this kitchen, and I did all of the hardware in unlacquered brass as well. We have recently I changed up my kitchen shelves to house all of my wedding china, which I wasn't using, and it was literally collecting dust in our basement. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna start using our wedding china that we haven't used. And I love the way it looks on the shelf. I've got a nice collection of cookbooks here that I constantly refer to when I need some inspiration. And I love also having plants in the kitchen. I love these topiaries. These are lemon myrtle. And then I've got a little collection of olive trees growing. And then I also love having a lamp in the kitchen at night. I feel like it adds a nice little touch of warmth to the room. Brian is a better cook than I am. I feel like I started out cooking, but as my workflow kind of increased, Brian has taken on a lot of the cooking responsibilities, and he enjoys it so much, and he's actually really, really good. So there's nothing I love more than coming home and the house smelling like a home-cooked meal. So when we built the house, I was really interested in incorporating a lot of white oak. So we did these white oak beams that you'll find throughout the house, and then we tied this into the shiplap hood with the white oak trim, and I love the way that came out. Obviously we have a nice big range here, and this is the griddle where Brian makes pancakes every Saturday and Sunday morning. I would say we're at this kitchen island this is probably the most used piece of furniture that we have in the whole house. We all sit here and we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner here. As much as I say I want to eat on a table, we always end up eating at the counter. But I kind of love it. It's just what we do, and it's nice and big for all of us to fit. This is a quartz countertop that has the look of marble, but isn't as porous as marble. So I really love this choice. I always have lots of fresh fruit for the kids to snack on, so they don't go into the pantry and get the unhealthy stuff. And I like to keep fresh flowers. Right now we have a ton of hydrangeas growing in the yard, so I am every day filling the house with the hydrangeas, and I love the way they look. The floors that we chose for the house are 5-inch character grade white oak. I get that question a lot too, and I love the way they look. They've obviously gotten lots more character over the years of living here, but I love the color, and they're super easy to clean. I would do these floors over and over again. I love them. This little nook right off the foyer was empty for so long, and then I realized that this bar cart fits perfectly. So I kind of used it as a little moment to showcase some art, some antiques that I found, a picture of the kids, and more of our linens. But I kind of love the way it all looks together. And then on our first floor, we have a powder room, which I'll take you guys into now. I love this sink. I forget what these are called, but this was something that I really wanted when we built the house. I just think it looks so cool. And then this really fun blue penny tile, which I love the color of. And then this wall is really fun. This was actually a recent addition, and it houses Slim Aaron's art, and it just looks really cool all together. So I wanted the studio that we work in to feel like a home. So I made a kitchen in there, and it's really cute, of course. And we took out the drop ceiling. There's these beautiful hanging basket lights. So I really wanted it to feel like a design studio with tons of natural light. Everything is kind of white-ish, and the clothes really make up the decor in the studio. And then the store, which is attached to the studio, feels to me like a little treasure box. It's where we put all of our recent collections, and also things that I have found throughout my years of antiquing and thrifting. So you'll see, it's really, really cool. And welcome to our foyer. I love this space so much. This was another space that sat empty for a while, and I couldn't figure out what to do with it, but with the help of a couple friends, it came out so pretty. This piece was a Facebook Marketplace find. It was $300, and it's solid pine, antique, beautifully made. One of my favorite finds in the house. And I love having a nice colorful stack of books here, a little photo of the kids from one of our trips to Costa Rica, this beautiful blue lamp that ties a lot of the color in, a mirror to check yourself out before you walk out the door, and this really pretty block print inspired rug. This was also a new recent addition that I love so much. And then here we have a bench that was pretty plain looking before, and I really wanted to do something fun with it. So Dana had mentioned upholstering it with something that we had. And I actually had 2 Marea tablecloths that were kind of just sitting there, and we turned it into this. And I cannot love this piece anymore. It just adds so much femininity and prettiness to the space. I always wanted a Dutch door. I feel like since I was a little girl, I envisioned myself as a mom whose kids were playing outside and who could stand at the door like this and watch them play. And so when we built the house, this was something that I had to have, and I love having this Dutch door. Anytime the weather is nice, I have it open. People ask me all the time, like, what about the bugs? And I kind of just don't worry about it. It just brings me so much happiness to have this front part of the house open like this. And I just feel like it's a very welcoming vibe. So one thing that I've slowly learned in decorating our home is that it's okay to mix prints and patterns. I think a lot of people want to pigeon themselves into one style, but what I have found to be the most fulfilling is to combine different prints and patterns, to combine different unexpected colors, to not worry if something isn't meant to go there. If you like the way it looks there, like, that's great. So I think just having this free form of decorating has really made this home unique and made it feel like me. And I feel the same way in fashion. You should dress with what makes you happy. Nothing has to match. I love mixing high and low. I love mixing cowboy boots with a feminine flirty top. So I feel like that sort of mix and match goes from fashion to home. I'm gonna take you upstairs, but before we do, I wanna talk to you guys about this moment. This is one of my favorite artists, Mary McGuire. I love this piece. Having walls that are board and batten are a little bit tricky with art, but we kind of just ignored it and went for it, and I love the way this little vignette came together. It adds a lot of character to an otherwise blank white space. So let's go upstairs. So this is our second floor. We have 4 bedrooms on this floor. My 3 children share a bathroom, and my husband and I have the primary suite. And I've cleaned up a little bit for you guys, but usually you can find things like this all throughout the house. I love this bedroom. It feels very serene to me and peaceful, and I love how open it is with these vaulted ceilings. This was something that I really, really wanted when we were building the home, and it came out so great. The whole room just feels very calm. A really nice place to come to go to sleep and relax. So we have this beautiful wallpaper on the walls, and I chose a very natural textured nightstand for Brian and myself with an upholstered bed and this really fun Americana quilt that is a little bit funky, but I love it. I love all the color, and I think it's really, really pretty. So I actually picked out all of these things at the same time. The mirror that would go behind the nightstand and the lamps. I loved the design on this lamp and thought it was really pretty and a really nice way to tie in all of the blues of the room. This is Brian's side. So similar thing, got a picture of the family, one of my favorite candles by Florico, and just like a little couple trinkets for my jewelry. Even though Brian's the first stop as you walk into the bedroom, if the kids wake up in the middle of the night, they will walk the extra 15 feet to wake me up instead of Brian. With a house full of children, sometimes you just have to escape to your bedroom to get a little bit of quiet, but you don't necessarily want to lay in bed. So the idea with having some chairs and a little table here is just to have a nice place to unwind that is separate from the chaos of the house. And I love the way it turned out. And I love this beautiful, bold piece of artwork in the room as well. The yellow really kind of just accents off the blue so nicely. So I'd always typically just bought area rugs in standard sizes, but for this room that was so big, I really wanted it to feel cozy. So I had this rug custom made, and I love the space that it takes up on the floor, and I love the natural kind of ivory color that it is. When I first moved into the home, I really, like I had mentioned before, it was very white, very minimal decor. I really wanted to live in the space to figure out what my design style was going to be in the home. And I would say that I didn't expect to feel so free about mixing prints, mixing patterns, putting antiques next to new pieces. But kind of as I grew as a fashion designer, I kind of also grew in that way in my home. And I would say I never expected to have drapes with shears, but that all kind of started to happen once I started really working with textiles. And then right off our bedroom is our primary suite bathroom. And I also love, this room brings me so much peace. There's nothing I love more than drawing a bath and relaxing in here. It's where I first start my day in the shower. It's where I get ready. I film a lot of videos in here when I'm doing my makeup. And I just love the way this room turned out. I love the little hit of wallpaper on the ceiling here, and then the high ceiling in the middle, and all of the polished nickel finishes. It's very bright and it's really clean, and it just really sets the day off right. His and her sink is definitely a must. I love having my own space. And we have a nice walk-in shower here that has a rain shower head, which I love. And it also has a steam room. Brian loves to do steam. You couldn't catch me in a steam room if you paid me, but he loves that. So that's one of the features that we built in here. When we were wallpapering the bedroom, we thought it would be a great idea to tie the wallpaper into the bathroom. And we had only shiplapped some of the walls in here when we were building. So we thought, with the white walls, why not put some wallpaper on? And I really like the way it kind of flows from the bedroom to the bathroom. It looks really pretty. This home through the years has really become my safe place. I love being home so much. I feel like my work is really, really busy during the day. And when I come home, it's just no distractions. It's my family. It's where I can relax. I just absolutely love being here.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.